Tonight on CBC Investigates, he is a key player in a company that has exploration licenses on Newfoundland's west coast, a company that wants to use the process known as fracking to find oil. Now, those plans have been controversial, but not as controversial as Norman Davidson Kelly's time with a different company in a different part of the world. It's a story that has its start in the oil fields of Iraq, involves the United Nations and a royal commission in Australia. The CBC's Rob Antle has the details.
Shoal Point Energy is the company behind controversial plans for fracking on Newfoundland's west coast. A company that says it conducts business with integrity and a strong focus on achieving the highest performance and ethical standards. A company whose chairman of the board is little known here, just a name on a press release. But half a world away, Norman Davidson Kelly is well known for his previous role in a different company and one of Australia's biggest business scandals in recent history. That scandal started here, Iraq, when Saddam Hussein ruled with an iron fist, before the war that knocked his regime out of power. United Nations sanctions meant no trade with his brutal dictatorship, until the UN agreed to allow food shipments to ensure the people of Iraq did not go hungry. The program let Saddam Hussein's government sell oil through a UN program, but it was rife with corruption. Overall, more than 2,000 companies gave nearly $2 billion in secret payoffs that went back to the Iraqi government. The Australian Wheat Board paid hundreds of millions in kickbacks. To find out what happened, the Australian government called a royal commission, led by this judge, Terence Cole. In 2006, Cole recommended that police pursue criminal charges against a dozen officials, including Norman Davidson Kelly. On the evidence before me, Mr. Davidson Kelly is a thoroughly disreputable man with no commercial morality.
No charges were ever laid, but the Royal Commission's findings about Davidson Kelly's specific role in the scandal were damning. In the mid-90s, he worked with the oil company BHP. BHP shipped a load of Australian wheat to Iraq as a gift, the commissioner found, a gift that later came due for repayment.
The gift of wheat was sent shortly before the UN's Oil for Food program came into effect. Trade with Iraq was then under sanctions. Davidson Kelly later lobbied the Iraqis to be paid for the wheat, convinced the Australian Wheat Board to help him. According to the Royal Commission, they did, inflating the value of other contracts under the UN Oil for Food program. The Australians took a cut of the extra cash, $500,000. The Royal Commissioner found that Davidson Kelly, or his family, got more than $7 million. Money set aside for humanitarian purposes for Iraqis was thus used to enrich Mr. Davidson Kelly and his family. The money flowed to Tigris Petroleum, a company based in Gibraltar. Davidson Kelly is British. He refused to testify in Australia, refused to cooperate with the Royal Commission.
We did speak with Davidson Kelly. He wouldn't do a recorded interview for broadcast, but he said the judge got it wrong. This was all above board and cleared by lawyers.
Davidson Kelly is now involved with the oil business here in western Newfoundland. He joined Shoal Point Energy nearly 3 years ago and now chairs the board of directors. Shoal Point has picked up exploration rights to a big chunk of land off the west coast, reached a deal with another company, Black Spruce, to do the fracking. Those fracking plans have been controversial, with hundreds turning out at public meetings.
My question has to do with the chemicals used in fracking.
And Shoal Point Energy has had other problems, getting on the wrong side of regulators in this province. Last month, the company put out a press release saying it had the green light from the CNLOPB to start drilling a new well. It didn't. Shoal Point had to issue a retraction later the same day. Controversy from a company with a chairman who has been at the center of controversy of a different nature before.
And Rob Antle joins me now live in the studio. So, Rob, what else did Norman Davidson Kelly have to say to you?
Well, he stressed that no charges were ever laid by the police task force that was set up in the wake of the coal inquiry in Australia.
He said he felt unfairly criticized by the Royal Commission there, and he disputes the judge's conclusions, which you just heard about there.
So, Rob, has he ever spoken about this before?
No, he told me this was actually the first time he's ever spoken about this publicly. He didn't speak with the press in Australia during this period, and he also did not speak with the Royal Commission or give evidence there as well.
So, how did he get involved with oil exploration in the western part of Newfoundland?
Well, he says Canadian colleagues got him interested in the region. He joined Shoal Point Energy about 3 years ago. It is important to note that Shoal Point had nothing to do with the events in the Middle East that we've been talking about here. In fact, the company didn't even exist at the time. Davidson Kelly told me he's had a long career in the oil industry, 4 decades in fact, and he hopes to do good things here in Newfoundland.
Okay, Rob, we're going to leave it there. Thanks very much.
Thank you.